So a few of you guys have been asking me to list my favorite 600cc super sports. I have no update on the 650R yet, so let's go ahead and make that list. It's just ugly as hell, and I don't know if it's reliable or not, but people nicknamed it the wheelbarrow for a reason. The second one I wouldn't snag is probably a CBR, and that's any years. Now the CBR, just like any good Honda, has a reputation for being really reliable. I just can't stand that really ugly dash, and I can't stand the fact that they just updated it. It's like 2022 already. It's also like really plain, like it has no character at all. Like if I were to buy that bike, I'm telling everybody like, oh, I couldn't decide which bike I wanted. And I come from the car scene, and Honda seems to be a big name in the car scene. So like every good Filipino boy, I'm gonna get a Honda CBR. Also, if I'm Filipino riding a CBR, I just feel like everybody's gonna think I'm a nurse for some reason. I don't know, it just feels weird. Okay, so like the last one on my list that I wouldn't get, and it's not because I think they're unreliable or I think they're ugly. In fact, I think the Triumph 675 Daytona is a beautiful motorcycle. So I have no experience with Triumph whatsoever. I've never owned a Triumph in my life. Like any other manufacturer, you're gonna hear the goods and the bad. I'm the type that doesn't really care about what people think. I'm willing to give anything a try. What turns me off from the 675 is the sound. It's a beautiful looking bike, but it has this weird whistling noise because of that inline 3. And to be honest, I don't think it's aggressive enough. And that bike just reminds me of a mid-30s white guy going bald and makes YouTube videos and calls himself Scammy Boob. Yeah, the Daytona is not for me. Alright, at the bottom of the totem pole is the Gixxer 600. It's not a bad bike. I think it's a great bike. It's super comfortable. It's great for short people like me. It has more than enough power. It's proven itself to be a reliable platform. I've actually owned one myself. Power is really linear. Overall, it's just a good motorcycle. I really don't have anything bad to say about the Gixxers, but I also don't really have anything amazing to say about them either. It's just your average squid bike. It's pretty good. Would I get one right now? No, but I'd recommend it. Alright, sitting at number 2, I gotta give it to the ZX-6R. The 636, not the 600 version. I owned a 2015. I love that motorcycle. The 2015 is a really nice body style too, but if I were to get one right now, I would get the 2020 and up, or 2019 and up, whichever one this one looks like. I think the latest version looks awesome. Don't quote me on this, but I also think it comes with a quick shifter and auto blipper, so that's really nice. So my first bike was a 2006 Yamaha R6, and if you didn't know, there was 2 versions of the R6s back then. There was the R6S that looked like the outgoing R6, which was the 05, and then there was the R6R or R6V. Same exact model. I think in the US it was designated the R, and in Europe I believe it was called the V. If I were to get one right now, I personally would get something like 2009 to 2016. There was a small tweak to the frame in 2009, which made the bike perform even better than it did before, and I think that was part of the reason it started winning in World Supersport, because they got the formula just right in 2009. And I've actually owned 3 of those bikes. I'm just so in love with the R6. It's such a great motorcycle for the track. It's not that good of a street bike because it's super aggressive, but it really is a confidence inspiring motorcycle. Most of the power is up top, and you have to unlock it with an exhaust and a custom flash and maybe a 1 down 2 up sprocket setup like I did, but honestly you can't go wrong with an R6. The R6 is a really excellent platform. I'm not a huge fan of the new ones, the 2017 and up. I don't like that they use the R1 dash on it, and I'm just not a fan of the tail lights and the headlights. I like the OG R6R, man. That bike is iconic, and hopefully I'll be looking for one on this channel to build into a super sport. Now, if I could only have one motorcycle out of all those, and it can't be 1000cc, it shouldn't come at a surprise that I would choose the GSX-R 750. Like any year. You got the 600 chassis. It shares a lot of the same parts as the 600. You got that extra power and not a lot of the weight that the 1000cc has. In my opinion, the GSX-R 750 is one of the best motorcycles ever made. And I really don't know why we don't have an R7, a BMW S750RR, a Kawasaki Ninja ZX-6R, like a new one, not the old biker boys looking one. Now, I don't own any 600s anymore, except for this one obviously, but that doesn't count. I'm definitely a 1000cc fanboy now, but it makes me really sad to see the day that the R6 is no longer sold on the streets, and that they stopped selling the Gixxers in most markets except for like the US and the Philippines. And I'm sure companies will still sell twin-cylinder super sports or maybe triples, but I started riding on screaming 4-bangers with hardly any electronics and no traction control. Here's a message to all you motorcycle manufacturers out there. Stop catering to these babies. Save the 600s.